make mention to your your crew, your team, DLG Willie, DLG Desmond, and PE Arsenio, and to all your members of the Kingston Club. We thank you for inviting us, and it's a pleasure to be here on the members of Kiwanis Club Kingston. It is our pleasure to speak. I speak on behalf of my club um, to have this collaboration. We look forward to an engaging and a bit of education to be garnered from this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, President. And now we'll do the welcome and introduction of members. I would call on PER Senior, but I don't think he's on yet. Okay, so VP Uncle Andrew Burton will do the welcome for us.
Okay. Good evening to everyone. The pleasure is mine to welcome you all. Well, we've gotten the official welcome from our presidents, but I'd like to extend an invite to those of you who are visiting with us, other than our two host clubs this evening, to please declare yourself on mute when I reach the category that's relevant to you, and just share a greeting. Anyone from clubs outside of Jamaica? Anybody joining us this evening from clubs outside of Jamaica? Okay, no. Anybody from Division 25?
Yes, good evening, fellow
Hello, good evening.
Kiwanians. I'm President Barbara from the Kiwanis Club of Providence, Montego Bay. There are two of us in our delegation. We're hoping others will jump on later. We're looking forward to an interesting meeting. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, President Barbara. Thank you for joining us, you and your delegation.
Thank
Anyone else with us from Division 25?
Good evening.
Evening.
Good evening, everyone. All right, so this is President Gio from the Kiwanis Club of Coastal Trelawney. And there are three of us online at present, and we're looking forward to other members joining. Thanks for the invite and looking forward to an excellent meeting.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, President Gio. So we have St. James represented, we have Trelawney represented. Anyone else from Division 25 here this evening?
Good evening, distinguished Kiwanians, distinguished guests, and Kiwanians and guests. So this is Past Director Crystal Heaven from the Kiwanis Club of Montego Bay. I'm seeing Director David on, and I'm just scrolling through the list, and I know others will be hopping on shortly. Looking forward to an interesting meeting, and thank you so much for the invite, and happy Chinese New Year for the persons that celebrate it.
Thank you, Past Director Crystal. Thank you for joining us, you and your delegation. Does that round up Division 25? Anybody else from Division 25 on the call with us this evening? No. All right. Division 24. Anyone from Division 24, please unmute. Give a greeting. No. All right, bring it to the 23s. Division 23 East. Anybody from Division 23 East? No. Division 23 West.
Good evening, fellow Kiwanians. This is President Ornett from the Kiwanis Club of Sunshine City, Portmore. At present, there are two of us online. We want to thank you for the invitation, and we are looking forward to a great meeting. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, President Ornett.
Good evening.
Good evening. I
This
see
is
a
your
familiar
grand
name.
aunt. I'm past director Annette from the Kiwanis Club of Greater Portmore.
Yes.
I don't know if any other member is on as yet, but I hope to enjoy your meeting.
Yes. Welcome. Special welcome, Auntie Annette.
Yeah.
I also want to add to that. I am Secretary Michelle from the Kiwanis Club of Greater Portmore. Auntie
Yes.
Annette, I am on, and also Kay Osman. So it's three of us on right
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
All right. Even bigger delegation. Welcome. Glad that you could join us.
P. Uncle Andrew,
Good evening.
I am sorry, but the mic wouldn't open, so you know what happened. But I'm sure our chairman, Stephanie Martin Dockery, is on. I was hoping she'd do the introduction, but
Yes.
I bring you greetings from Kiwanis Club of New Kingston. And I
Right.
know the members of my club would love me to tell you that they wish you all that is good and blessings always. I know I've seen at least 7 members on. I know there are more, but I have not made note of all of them as well as yet. And I know that we are going to have a great time listening to all that is happening and hope we'll be able to take part. Have a wonderful evening. This is DLG Gerslin.
Okay, we love to hear from you as well, DLG, as an honorary
Thank
member
you.
of
And I
our
know
club.
Your
Chairman
club
Stephanie is
coach is
on. I
on.
don't know why.
Your club coach is also on, babe.
Yes,
Oh,
I
yes.
saw Bev Thompson on too, but they didn't respond. But probably they were trying, like myself, to open the mic. Thank you.
Yes. I
Good
see.
night,
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Yes, good night, everyone. This is President Candice from the Kiwanis Club of Young Professionals St. Catherine. Thank you for the invite. Looking forward to an awesome night. Thank you.
Good
Okay.
night, everyone.
Good night.
This public relation officer for the Kiwanis Club of Mandeville. Currently, there are 2 of us that are on, and we are looking forward for an interested meeting. Thank you for the invite.
Okay. Welcome.
Good evening, VP Andrew.
Good
VP
evening.
Devon from the Kiwanis Club of Spalding Christiana. I'm alone at this time, hoping others will join soon. Thanks for the invitation and have a wonderful evening.
All right, DP Devon. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. I see from Kiwanis Club, I believe this is Young Professional St. Andrew. Super happy to be here, and other members will be joining soon. Thank you, Secretary Ashi. Okay. Do we have anybody here from Division 23 Central?
Yes, thank you, please. Good evening,
You
VP
were waiting.
Andrew. I bring you
Good evening.
greetings from President Najibi and all the other members of the Kiwanis Club of Stony Hill. I
Yes.
am here alone for the moment. The rest of my delegation will be on shortly. Thank you so much for having us.
All right.
DP Althea.
Yes, I know that voice. Welcome, DP Althea.
Thank you.
All right. Any others from our home division? Division
Good night,
20.
good night, fellow Kiwanians.
Good night.
Good evening, fellow Kiwanians. This
Good evening.
is P.E. Omar from the Kiwans Club North St. Andrew. We are 4 online. Thank you for the invite to your meeting today. Should be a very interesting one. Thank you.
Welcome, P.E. Omar. Thank you.
1 second. Hi, good evening, PE. Andrew, how are you?
Good evening.
VP.
Yes, one step.
Oh dear. Well, thank you so much for this invite. And at this time, we have a delegation of 3 to include.
Yes, we always include our shared member.
Oh yes, and President Maxine.
Okay.
And I am DP Eurydice from the
Yes.
Kiwanis Club of 23 Central, Surrey Online. So
Okay.
thank you so much, and we look forward to this very exciting meeting. Thank you.
Yes. Welcome, DP Dr. Eurydice.
You're most
Thank you
welcome.
so much. Anyone else from our home division from 23 Central on the call? No. Any of our SLPs, any members of our service leadership programs who are on the call this evening? I am scanning. No, not seeing any so far. Any guests of Kiwanians? Any prospective members also? Okay, none to declare. All right. Generally, welcome again, everyone. We have an exciting program to look forward to. We're bound to get some good information to bolster our Black History Month knowledge. DP Stewart always comes with some hard-hitting facts. It's not trivia this evening. I think we're just gonna be learning. So I hope we all get a good taste of what he has to share. All right. Thanks very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, VP Uncle Andrew, and thanks for the reminder that it's not a trivia. I heard those sighs of relief. I know some persons I know a little bit more relaxed, knowing that they are not being tested this evening. I must say, though, welcome, welcome, welcome to the members of Kiwanis Club of Kingston and the Kiwanis Club of West St. Andrew. Welcome to this your own meeting. Apologies for absence. The only apology I have is from DP Newton. He apologized because he's going to be arriving late on the platform. I'm going to now ask President Maurice if he has any apologies for absence on his side.
Unfortunately, we have no apologies from my side, that's President.
Okay. Thank you, President. And Deirdre Willie, did anybody send any apologies to you?
We have an apology from distinguished President Richard Rees, who may be late, as well as we always have an apology from past Treasurer Orville Lewis, who's in the Cayman Islands. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Deirdre. Right, now we'll do recognition of birthdays and anniversaries. It was done by PE, our senior sawyers, and VP Michelle from West St. Andrew.
Good evening, everyone. So we just like to acknowledge those of our members that will be having a special day this week. So we do have two persons. We have a birthday coming up on the 22nd, and that will be for Kiwanian Geoff Madden. And then we have an anniversary on the 17th, so that's actually today, for Kiwanian Colin Barnett and his wife Rose. So happy anniversary if you're here with us. And we do hope you have many more.
VP Michelle?
Not
President
seeing
Maurice?
VP Michelle. Not seeing VP Michelle at all. She's missing in action. So far we have we have no one celebrating birthdays in February anniversary, but we do have upcoming birthday in March for our PE Cheryl. If we have our VP visit us at a later time, we'll have her announce all these details of what she has in store. Apologies on that.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Chris. So to all celebrating, we wish you the very, very best Now to point of order. Kiwanis education this evening will focus on points of order. So I'll invite DLG Desmond Bachelor to do Kiwanis education.
Thank you, President Zurich. Good evening, fellow Kiwanians, SLP members and guests. As President Zurich said, the topic is point of order. Now, what is that? A point of order is a formal parliamentary procedure used during a meeting to immediately notify the chair that the rules of a meeting are being violated. It allows a member to interrupt proceedings to ensure proper procedure is followed, requiring the chair to rule on the validity of the issue. When to raise a point of order. A member may interrupt the speaker or the proceedings to raise a point of order if rules are violated. For example, a motion is discussed without a second, or a vote is conducted without a quorum. So your quorum is 7 and there are only 5 of you, and you have taken a decision that is invalid. And so one can raise a point of order that you're violating the rules. The quorum is breached. A member is disrespectful, using inappropriate language, or attacks another personally. Relevance and time. The speaker is not talking about the motion on the floor. He's speaking out of turn, or has exceeded his allotted time. These are breaches, and they would call for point of order. Agenda deviation. The meeting is not followed, or the meeting is not following the approved agenda or proper order of business. Now, how to raise the point of order? Do not wait. Raise the point of order immediately after the breach occurs. Otherwise, it may be too late. Interrupt if necessary. A member may stand and call out point of order, even if someone else is speaking. No recognition is required, but the member must briefly explain the rule that is violated. A second is not required, and it is not debatable. Chair's ruling. The chairperson must immediately rule on the point, whether well taken or it's not well taken. And that is it for Kiwanis education, President. Thank you. Good.
Thank you, DLG Desmond. And now it's time for our main event, Black Innovators Who Changed Everyday Life. And to shed some light on these innovators, I'm going to now invite DP Stewart to take us through our main presentation for this evening.
Thank you, President Zuri. But I was just trying to figure out why my camera is not coming up. And I don't know if they just want to spare the audience from having to look at me. But let me try again. That's the only thing I'm trying to figure out. One sec.
Sure. Can you make me co-host? Let me see if I can help.
Sure. I usually do, but I forgot this time. Let me do that. Give me a sec. What's the first letter in your name? You put the D or you put just, well, it will be D anyway.
Put Desmond.
All right, let me look. Let's see.
Oh, I don't see the camera for Kings. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's not for Kingston. It will be under DP Stewart.
Yes, yes.
All right, let me just put your name. I usually find it that way, but
okay.
Okay, got you.
I'm still not co-host.
Okay, now you are.
Yes, yeah, right. Now let me see if I can. No, ask to start video. It is now asking you to start the video.
Yeah, but my video, I have a sliding switch, which is supposed to turn on everything, including and it's in the position, but there's a button for me to activate, and it's just staying red.
Okay, well, I think DP Pauline has raised her hand. Maybe she's trying to offer some assistance.
No, sorry, that was a mistake.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, DLG.
I don't know.
Well, DP Stewart, I mean, in the interest of time, we could probably start without the camera being able to come on.
I guess that's how life is. Let me just key up where I'm gonna start from. I have some information that Okay, fellow Kiwanis and guests. You know, I really I chose, definitely I didn't want to do a quiz, because with a quiz you can't it's hard to convey the kind of information about these people, and I really wanted a chance to do that. I must say, I never usually start the stream, or recording, if I'm doing that, until after the opening exercises have been done. But this would have been an evening when I wish I had started it, because that prayer by Rose was really on point and really a fabulous one. I really appreciated what she had to say. Just as on point. So let's go, ladies and gentlemen. I had it in mind to do 12 stories. Some will be shorter than some. And the whole idea is to give everybody an idea of some of the persons who really have made a difference, in terms of what they have done for. And what I found interesting is how it happened that these guys invented what they did, or innovated in what they did. There are some nice stories. So let me start with one. And I'm gonna ask the question if just to see if anybody is aware of who the person is. But the first person I'm gonna talk about is Patricia Bath. Has anybody ever heard the name before? She's a doctor. Okay, that's not a problem. Let's start with that. Dr. Patricia Bath was a pioneering American ophthalmologist, inventor, and humanitarian. She was the first woman to lead a postgraduate training program in ophthalmology. Notice I didn't say Black woman. First woman to lead a postgraduate training program in ophthalmology. She was the first African-American woman doctor to receive a patent for a medical purpose as the inventor of the laser phaco probe. This was developed in 1986. This device used laser technology to remove cataracts more precisely and safely. It revolutionized cataract surgery worldwide, restoring sight to patients who had been blind for decades. Now, other than what I read in the Bible, I didn't know that people could be blind for decades and get back their sight. Well, apparently, if it was a matter of cataracts, you know, that is possible because she has done that. This revolutionized cataract surgery worldwide, restoring sight. Okay, that part I covered. She founded the American Institute for the Prevention of Blindness in 1976, promoting the idea that eyesight is a basic right. Championed access to quality eye care for underserved communities, both in the US and globally. Dr. Barr's career was shaped by the civil rights movement, and she consistently fought against racial and gender barriers in science and medicine. Her work not only advanced ophthalmology, but also embodied her belief that innovation should serve humanity. Well, so that's Dr. Barr. This next person, I'm sure some of you will know you'll know about him. So let's go with it. Let me just say, she was from 1942 to 2019. So just about 6 years, 5, 6, 7 years that she has passed. Now, who was Dr. Charles Drew? I'm sure some of you are familiar with his name and probably his work. So Dr. Charles Richard Drew was a groundbreaking African-American surgeon, medical researcher, and educator. He chose to do his studies outside of the US. In fact, he went to McGill in Canada because he found that they were more inclusive. And that's just, something I thought I would throw in. Now, his main contribution was that he demonstrated that blood plasma could be separated from whole blood, stored safely for longer periods, and transported over long distances. This discovery was crucial during World War II, allowing medics to save thousands of soldiers by treating blood loss with plasma transfusions. And another thing I learned was that with plasma, blood type is irrelevant, doesn't matter. Okay, so he directed the first large-scale blood bank project in the US and later in Britain during World War II. His methods became the foundation of modern transfusion medicine. This part is a bit funny. He strongly opposed the American Red Cross's policy of segregating blood donations by race, calling it scientifically baseless and discriminatory. Please close that mic, Oswald Newell. Oswald Newell. Okay. Now, that last statement about scientifically baseless and discriminatory, I consider that as a euphemism for stupidity. Drew introduced bloodmobiles, which were refrigerated mobile blood donation trucks that improved blood donation in public spaces. This innovative initiative solidified his reputation as a pioneer and earned him the title Father of the Blood Bank. Dr. Drew's innovations transformed emergency medicine and surgery worldwide. His insistence on fairness in healthcare also made him a civil rights advocate within the medical field. Despite his life being cut short at age 45, his impact continues every time a blood transfusion saves a life. And I also read about how he died. He and I think 2 other colleagues were on their way to either North Carolina or South Carolina. And they were traveling. He was the one who was driving. And it seemed as if he fell asleep at the wheel, and they crashed into a tree. The other members were survived, but he didn't. And it's also noteworthy that they took him to, whether, I don't know if it's an ambulance that came, I don't know how they did those things in those days, but he was taken to a segregated hospital that treated only Black people. Now, I don't know if there was a closer one, or maybe one with better facilities that treated white people as well. I don't know that as a fact, but it seemed as if that was also a contributing factor. These persons they tried their best, but he didn't, but he succumbed to the injuries from the crash. And a brilliant mind, we lost him in his 40s, at age 45. Now, this third one is an interesting one. And one of the reasons why, well, it's interesting because of the story, but also because of where he's from. His name was Jan Ernst Matzeliger. Now, the name Matzeliger doesn't sound, well, it sounds like some white person, right? But let's explore that a little further. He's a fascinating figure in the history of invention. This person was born in Paramaribo in Suriname, then Dutch Guiana, on the 15th of September in 1852. His father was Ernst Karel Matzeliger, and he was a Dutch engineer of German descent who ran a shipyard and supervised government machine works. His mother was a woman of African descent who had been enslaved, making Jan of mixed heritage. And that's a familiar story that, we're all aware of. Now, this background meant he grew up in a colonial society where opportunities were limited, especially for someone of mixed race. From his earliest years, Jan displayed extraordinary mechanical aptitude. He spent hours in his father's machine shop, fascinated by the machinery and mechanical devices. By age 10, he was working as an apprentice in the machine shops where his father supervised, learning the fundamentals of mechanical screening through hands-on experience. Matzeliger emigrated to the United States in his 20s. He actually left Suriname in his late teens, but he went on a ship and he kind of had an inkling or a desire to kind of see the world. Anyway, he ended up in Lynn, Massachusetts in his early 20s. And that town, Lynn, Massachusetts, was the hub of shoemaking. In fact, virtually every shoe in America was made in Lynn or nearby towns. Matzeliger found work in a shoe factory, operating a Mackay sole sewing machine. This position gave him intimate knowledge of shoe manufacturing processes and revealed the industry's greatest bottleneck, which was shoe lasting, and I'll explain what that is. That is a process of shaping the upper part of a shoe around a foot-shaped form called a last and attaching it to the sole. In the 1870s, this was done entirely by hand by skilled craftsmen called hand lasters. A master laster could produce perhaps 50 pairs of shoes per day because the process was so slow and required such skill. It was the limiting factor on shoe production. Shoes remained, one second. Yeah. Because this process was so slow and required such skill, it was the limiting factor in shoe production. Shoes remained expensive luxury items that ordinary working people could hardly afford. Many inventors had attempted to mechanize shoe lasting, but all had failed. The process was considered too complex and delicate for machinery. The precision required seemed to demand human judgment and dexterity that machines couldn't replicate. Matzeliger became convinced he could succeed where others had failed. Working in a cold, unheated room at night after long factory shifts subsisting on limited food to save money for materials, he dedicated himself to creating a shoe lasting machine. He studied every aspect of the shoe lasting process and began designing. The work was extraordinarily difficult. For 5 years, he experimented, failed, redesigned, and tried again. He created intricate mechanisms with gears, cams, levers, and complex timing systems. He developed his own tools. He studied the hand lasters, observing exactly how they manipulated the leather. Slowly, piece by piece, his invention took shape. He faced racial discrimination in Lynn's segregated society. Most churches and social organizations excluded Black people. Matzeliger found welcome only at the North Congregational Church, which accepted him despite his mixed race. In 1883, he got this patent. He patented the shoe lasting machine, which could attach the upper part of a shoe to the sole far more efficiently than human hands. His invention increased production by up to 900%, dramatically lowering the cost of shoes and making footwear affordable for ordinary people. Sadly, he died at the age of 37. Barely 6 years, I think it was, after he got his patent. And he died from tuberculosis before he could fully enjoy the recognition his invention deserved. Despite this, his work transformed the shoe industry and improved millions of lives. Matzeliger is often celebrated as a Surinamese-American inventor who democratized access to shoes. His story is also significant because it highlights how inventors of African descent contributed to the industrial progress, even when they faced racial and social barriers. Now, here's a little part that is kind of quite interesting. He ended up selling his invention for $1,500. The Consolidated Lasting Machine Company purchased the rights to Matzeliger's patents and began manufacturing the machines. Within a few years, they dominated the American shoe industry. The machine spread worldwide, revolutionizing footwear manufacturing globally. Now, it is also said, I think one of the things that remember when I told you about the conditions in which he was working at night after a shift, that obviously contributed to him developing tuberculosis, which is what he died from. Now, this last part is another part I want to convey. At the time of his death, he owned stock in the same Consolidated Lasting Machine Company, worth about $50,000. A substantial sum, but a tiny fraction of the billions of dollars his invention would generate. And he died before seeing the machine transform the global shoe industry, before knowing that his invention would be called one of the most important of the Industrial Revolution. He was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 1991, and he was honored on a U.S. Postal Service commemorative stamp also in 1991. Now, what is interesting is that although he earned shares valued at $50,000, I have no idea what percentage of the company that would have been. Because what I would have been more interested in knowing is, okay, he gave up he got shares, and as well as he got $1,500 for his invention. But I wondered what percentage ownership, maybe he didn't have any. I don't know how that negotiation would have gone, but I would have been interested in knowing what percentage was it. Just that sounds like a 1% or 2% kind of money, but then I don't know. So that was Jan, and he came from Suriname. Now the fourth person that I have on my little list is also not from America. He's actually a Ghanaian American. His name was Thomas Mensah, 1950 to 2024. Thomas Owusu Mensah was a Ghanaian-American chemical engineer, inventor, and entrepreneur, best known for his pioneering contribution to fiber optic technology and nanotechnology commercialization. Note that a nanometer, which is what is related to nanotechnology, is 1/1000th of a meter. So the technology, when you say nanotechnology, you're working with infinitesimally small things. All right. That's just a little sidebar. Now, his early life, he was born, as I said, in Kumasi, Ghana in 1950. Studied chemical engineering at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He earned a PhD in chemical engineering from Montpellier University in France in 1978. In the 1980s, Mensah's career soared as he delved into groundbreaking research at renowned institutions like Corning Glass Works and AT&T Bell Labs in the United States. His innovative work in fiber optics and superconductor technology resulted in the development of new manufacturing processes and materials, earning him multiple patents and accolades. Mensah's expertise in fiber optics was instrumental in enhancing communication and computer technologies, laying the foundation for modern advancements in personal computing and the internet. He edited seminal works like Fiber Optics Engineering, Processing Applications, 1987, and the Superconductor Engineering, 1992, contributing to the dissemination of cutting-edge research in these fields. During the 1991 Gulf War, Mensah's contribution to missile technology played a pivotal role in achieving military success. His entrepreneurial spirit led him to establish Supercond Technologies in 1992, where he aimed to bridge the gap between military advancements and civilian applications. Mensah's achievements garnered widespread recognition, including features in traveling exhibits celebrating Black scientists and engineers. Despite facing financial challenges that eventually led to Supercond's closure in the early 2000s, Mensah's legacy as a pioneering scientist and visionary entrepreneur endures. He passed away in 2024, leaving behind a legacy of innovation, resilience, and groundbreaking contributions to the realms of science and technology. And I can also add that he held 14 patents in fiber optics and related technologies, served as president and CEO of Georgia Aerospace Systems in the US, and he edited a textbook, Nanotechnology Commercialization, 2017. He was inducted into the US National Academy of Inventors in 2015 and honored with awards such as the Percy Allen Award and recognition from the American Institute of Chemical Engineers. So that was Thomas Mensah. Or did I? Yes, I said the first name right. Okay, our fifth person now. This is a lady. Her name was Marion Rogers, but she was married. Her married name was Croak. You know, like croaking lizard. So she's Marion Rogers Croak. And I think she's still alive because she was born in 1955. And there's no information as to when she passed. So I'm assuming she's still alive. So what was she now? She was a pioneering American engineer and inventor, best known for her groundbreaking work in Voice over Internet Protocol, VoIP technology. That's the same technology that allows us to be doing what we're doing now on Zoom. All right? So that's just to bring it closer to home. The key highlights of her career: early life and education. Born in 1955 in New York City, bachelor's degree from Princeton, 1977. PhD in social psychology and quantitative analysis from the University of Southern California. Professional achievements: spent over 30 years at Bell Labs and AT&T, where she filed more than 200 patents. Joined Google in 2014 as Vice President of Engineering. Her innovations in VoIP made audio and video conferencing practical and widespread. Inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 2022 for her contributions to VoIP. Member of the National Academy of Engineering and a recipient of the 2026 IEEE Founders Medal. I didn't get a chance to look up what the IEEE was. Probably an engineering relationship. Now, why does she matter? Marian Crook's work fundamentally changed how people communicate across the globe. Without her contribution, technologies like Zoom, Teams, and WhatsApp calls would not be nearly as seamless or reliable. She also serves as a role model for women and underrepresented groups in STEM, showing how persistence and creativity can shape entire industries. And I just want to mention two other things. Another thing, in addition to the VoIP, one of the things that she had a patent for was what would allow users, in other words, you know, when if you're in an Uber and they can tell you where the traffic is heavy and all of that kind of information. So it allowed users requesting a route map to access live images or video of key points along the route and request alternative routes if traffic is congested. So that was another aspect of her research that led to that as a possibility. And in terms of her broader impact, I think I've covered most of what I would say here. But oh yes, the last part I would mention is her influence goes beyond her patents. She embodies the idea that diversity fuels innovation. Her presence and advocacy have helped shift the culture of tech companies towards greater inclusivity. For many aspiring engineers, especially women of color, she represents proof that excellence and leadership are possible, even in spaces where representation has historically been scarce. And at Google, she has been involved in AI ethics and responsible innovative initiatives, ensuring diverse voices are included in shaping technology. And she was strongly, she actively mentors young engineers, particularly women and people of color, helping them to navigate career growth and technical challenges. So that is what we know about Mrs. Crook, which is what she is, Marian Rogers Crook, 1955, but apparently still alive. Now, the next person I want to go on to is also a woman. And there's a nice little twist to this story. Not a twist, but a fact. Her name was Dr. Yvette Francis, and I guess she was married, named McBarnett. So she's known as Dr. Yvette Francis McBarnett, 1926 to 2016. Dr. Yvette Faye Francis McBarnett, I think, that's the way I should say, was a pioneering American pediatrician and hematologist, best known for her groundbreaking work in the treatment of sickle cell anemia. Early life and education. Born in Kingston, Jamaica, on May 10, 1926, to Clarence and Sarah Francis. Moved to Harlem, New York as a child. Entered Hunter College at age 14, graduating magna cum laude at 17, earned a master's degree in chemistry from Columbia University. Became the second Black woman admitted to the Yale School of Medicine at age 19. She directed a clinic at Jamaica Hospital Medical Center in Queens, New York, where she treated children with sickle cell anemia. And this is really what made her groundbreaking. She was among the first physicians to use prophylactic antibiotics for sickle cell patients, well before the practice was widely accepted. Now, when I saw the word prophylactic antibiotics, I said, what kind of antibiotics is that? But if you use prophylactic, okay, as a verb, as an adjective, and know that it meant to guard or to, prevent that kind of, then what it meant is that the practice of giving somebody an antibiotic, not to treat an existing infection, but to prevent that infection from occurring. And that is what she pioneered. Penicillin was an example of one of the things that she routinely would give to sickle cell patients as a means of preventing them from, because there were, as sickle cell, people suffer from sickle cell, there's a problem with their immune system, and they very easily get infections to certain things because of the sickle cell. So that was really groundbreaking in terms of the idea of doing that. Now, she co-founded the Foundation for Research and Education in Sickle Cell Disease, helping to raise awareness and improve care. Her advocacy had a direct impact on U.S. public health policy, especially around sickle cell disease. Now, here's an example of the policy influence. Mandatory screening laws. She was a strong voice pushing for state-level legislation requiring sickle cell testing for newborns and at-risk populations. By the early 1970s, several states had adopted mandatory screening programs, ensuring early diagnosis and treatment. Federal recognition, her efforts contributed to the National Sickle Cell Anemia Control Act of 1972, which provided federal funding for research, education, and screening programs. This was a landmark moment as it brought sickle cell disease into the national spotlight. Community health advocacy. She emphasized that sickle cell disease disproportionately affected African Americans and underserved communities, framing it as both a medical and social justice issue. She advocated for mandatory sickle cell screening programs in the US, which became law in several states. Her push for preventative care, like prophylactic antibiotics, influenced later CDC guidelines for managing sickle cell disease. She helped shift the perception of sickle cell from a neglected condition to one requiring systematic public health intervention. In short, Frances McBarnett's work bridged the gap between clinical innovation and public policy, ensuring that sickle cell care wasn't just available in hospitals, but became part of national health priorities. Now, I'm going to skip to another section that I had prepared. Oh yes, remember I said in one of the things that people who suffer from sickle cell have is that their spleens often don't function properly, and that is one of the things that leave them more susceptible to picking up infections. So, and she was the first. She was among the first to prescribe daily penicillin to children with sickle cell anemia, dramatically reducing life-threatening infections. This preventive approach later became standard practice worldwide. I hope it's standard practice in Jamaica. I do not know that, as I do not know what the facts are in that regard. Now, one of the things I want to emphasize now is that she was a hematologist. Okay. Now, hematologists, they study blood and basically the things that blood problems cause. Now, a lot of cancers are blood-based, are related. In other words, hematology covers also a lot of oncology in a sense. So what she pushed for showed a ripple effect, provided a ripple effect in terms of the influence, and I want to just get that across to you. In cancer care, for example, her advocacy paralleled the push for cancer screenings pap smears, mammograms, colonoscopies. The idea that early detection saves lives became a shared principle across hematology and oncology. And that probably would not have happened the way it did had it not been for what she discovered, even though her initial focus was patients with sickle cell. Okay, so that is part of the ripple effect. And let me just close this section with her work reinforced the importance of preventative strategies also in other fields like cholesterol screening for heart disease or vaccines for infectious diseases. So, you know, when I think about what she has done, it's really her contribution, and she came from Little Jamaica, even though she didn't do her research in Jamaica. She migrated from she was a child, but that's a name we should remember. Let me just remind, Dr. Yvette Francis McBarnett. She's 1926 to 2016, so she died about 10 years ago. All right, let me move on to the next person, and I think this is number 7. Yes, 7. I don't have a lot of information on him, but there are a couple of things about this person that make me smile when I read about him. His name was Granville T. Woods, 1856 to 1910. He held over 60 patents, including the synchronous multiplex railway telegraph, which allowed communication between moving trains and stations. In fact, that was a key invention because now trains could communicate and between stations they could communicate, and this would prevent, head-on crashes in terms of trains using the same lines. So that was a very big thing. So it improved railway safety and efficiency, and it earned him the nickname, the Black Edison. Although in another one that I'm going to tell you about, another one also said he was considered himself the Black Edison. So he was self-taught. Think about this. You're barred from libraries. You had to get friends to borrow books for you. And he had to fight legal battles with Edison to protect his patents. He's the first person I remember, because I knew about him sometime before. In fact, I used his name in terms of one of our quizzes some months ago, or maybe years ago. One of his inventions, in fact, on 2 occasions, Thomas Edison tried to claim his invention and sued Woods. He sued him. Woods didn't take it lying down, and he went to court and won. And it happened twice. So after the second defeat, what did Thomas Edison do? Tried to offer him a job to work for him. Woods was not interested. He was not interested. And I just find that an interesting sidebar in terms of what he had to go through. But there's another thing that happened to him. But I'll tell you that as I get to it. So he was the first African-American mechanical and electrical engineer after the Civil War. His work laid foundations for modern rail systems. And over the course of his lifetime, Granville Woods obtained, as I said, more than 60 patents for inventions, including an automatic brake and an egg incubator, and for improvements to other technologies such as the safety circuit, telegraph, telephone, and phonograph. In 1884, Woods received his first patent of a steam boiler furnace. And in 1885, Woods patented an apparatus that was a combination of a telephone and a telegraph. The device, which he called telegraphony, would allow a telegraph station to send voice and telegraph messages through over a single line using Morse code. He sold the rights to this device to the American Bell Telephone Company in 1887. He also patented I mentioned that one before, which is a significant one, the synchronous multiplex railway telegraph, which allowed communications between train stations from moving trains by creating magnetic fields around a coiled wire under the train. Now, what's interesting here, yes, there's this other story, because it seemed as if other people are always trying to steal his inventions. It says when he was working on one, he caught smallpox prior to patenting the technology that he was working on. And a man named Lucius Phelps patented it in 1884 before using the opportunity that Woods had gotten sick and couldn't do anything at that time. So in 1887, Woods used notes, sketches, and a working model of the invention to secure the patent. And the invention was so successful that Woods began the Woods Electric Company in Cincinnati, Ohio. So he was sick, and another man is now trying to steal his invention, and he was able to prove that it was his invention. And that gave him enough money to start the Woods Electric Company, to market and sell his patents. However, the company quickly became devoted to invention creation until it was dissolved in 1893. Edison later filed a claim to the ownership of this patent. So that would have been one of the two that he went to court over. So I just told you that story before. What I tried to wrap up on this guy is, there was one of the things that he did. In 1888, there was a great blizzard in New York, and the mayor decided to declare that all wires, many of which powered the above ground rail system, had to be removed and buried, emphasizing the need for an underground system. One of Wood's patents was built upon this particular third rail system, improving the safety by using wire brushes to make connections with metallic terminal leads without exposing wires. So this was another thing that he did. And once the train, let me just try and cut this part. There are just too many to go into that detail. So I think I'm going to call it a day on Woods. But, he was a very significant part in the whole process. Now, number 8 is Paul Revere Williams, 1894 to 1980. Now, he was an architect of over 3,000 structures, including celebrity homes, the Beverly Hills Hotel, and the original St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. I'm sure you see them advertised a lot on cable. They don't charge the kids there to be treated, so they solicit funds to keep it going, so the children don't have to pay, or the parents don't have to pay. But there's an interesting story about St. Jude's. St. Jude's was the concept of a comedian. I used to watch him. I used to see him. He used to have a television show, a sitcom. Danny Thomas. Don't know if, and his daughter is Marla Thomas, who is also a celebrity and she's still alive. So Danny Thomas and Paul Revere Williams were friends. Although I'm not so sure how good a friend they really were, based on what I'm going to tell you. But Williams offered, when he knew what Danny Williams wanted to create, this hospital, he did the designs for St. Jude's, the original St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. He did the designs, didn't charge Danny Thomas anything. And would you believe, I think you know what I'm going to say, when they had the opening for it, Williams was not invited. Another thing about this guy, that I found also very interesting is he had a lot of, obviously a lot of, if you're an architect in that period of America, and you're doing a lot of work, a lot of your clients are white. All right, it just stands to reason. And what happened is at first I thought I'd read that he learned to read plans upside down. In other words, if you think, and let me explain why he did this. If he realized that there were some clients, white clients, who may not want to stand beside him while he is describing what is on the plan. Okay? So he would be standing on the other side of the table and describing the plan, so he didn't have to stand beside the white man. Now, these are the things that Black people went through, right? In fact, I've also read where he learned to sketch upside down, meaning the same thing. But I don't know if that's really true, because he made what I read originally some time ago was that he was able to read the plans. So if you have already prepared the plans and you are showing it to a client, then you could stand across the table and describe what is in it. So his struggles, he designed homes for like Frank Sinatra, Lucille Ball. There are a couple. Desi Arnaz. Well, I guess Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball were husband and wife at one stage, anyway. But in terms of his legacy, he's known as the architect of the stars. But he proved Black excellence could redefine American architecture. And he did most of his work in California, in the Los Angeles area. But it was a struggle. A little bit about his early life. Williams came from a family of middle-class residents in Memphis. They migrated to Los Angeles in 1893 with their son, to start a fruit business, but they were not successful. Paul was born in Los Angeles. His father died of tuberculosis. I noticed a lot of these people, in terms of the people I'm going through, died of tuberculosis. Anyway, he studied at the Los Angeles School of Arts, Design, and he was the first African American, I think, to be accepted in the American Institute of, I don't remember what they call it, but the association. Yes, in 1921, the first certified he's also the first certified African American architect west of the Mississippi. I guess if you know the geography, that would mean something to you. And he won an architectural competition at age 25, and 3 years later opened his own office. So one of the things I liked about him is really how he persevered against the discriminatory practices that he had to live through. And, it has always been rough, but he's now celebrated as one of the greatest in American, in terms of American architecture. One of the things that, and he did a lot of public projects, but I don't mean free, I mean like city projects as well, and not just private for private people. And I mentioned the Beverly Hills Hotel, which is one. I don't think it was a whole hotel. I think he designed a wing or some parts of it. So over 2,000 buildings. That's a lot of work. Now this next person, Alexander Miles, his invention was the automatic elevator doors. Now remember, if you watch old-time movies, you used to see an attendant inside elevators. So when people are coming out of elevators, yes, this person who worked in the elevator, he would open the elevators. I used to see that in old movies. Now, before his design, elevator shafts were left open. And there were deadly accidents. His innovation made elevators safer and more reliable because the doors closed automatically. And that was Alexander Miles. Now he was a barber turned businessman. He became the first Black member of the Chamber of Commerce in Duluth and was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 2007. And it is believed by some that Alexander got the idea of his elevator door mechanism after his daughter, he had a daughter named Grace, accidentally fell down a shaft, almost ending her life. So these are the things that spur people to say, well, hey, let's create something about this. Let's do something about this. So he was awarded his patent for automatically opening and closing elevator doors. I'll move on from him at this point, and I get to the last one, because I think you get the gist of what he accomplished. This number 10, Garrett Morgan, interesting fella. He's more famous for his work on traffic lights. That's what people associate it with, because when he saw an accident, apparently in those days, traffic lights had only red and green. So when you're red, you stop. When you see green, you go. But there was nothing in between, like we have amber today, and we phase them so what he did in terms of the traffic signal, he introduced a third phase. Now it wasn't the amber, he didn't do the amber, but he introduced a third phase with an arm, something to do with an arm, like a lever. And what it did is it stopped everybody. In other words, instead of moving from red, from stop to go, he had a pause where all the four directions had a stop, and that's how he was able to eliminate the situation where there was no gap between stop and go. And then what he did now, when all were on stop, that is when pedestrians would cross. So he thought the things through. But he didn't start that's not his first invention. And I found it really kind of interesting. Let's go through it. One of his early inventions was a safety hood that saved workers during a 1916 tunnel disaster in Cleveland. In other words, he thought there were cases. Think of it as a gas mask, and what it had a tube that led from the mouth area right down to the ground, because when you had these gases that were harmful, they would rise. So the cleanest air you could get to breathe would be the one closest to the ground. So that was the principle on which he designed this particular gas mask. And when they had this tunnel disaster, they were trying they were trying whatever they could to get the people out, because people were trapped inside, and they were losing a lot of people, a lot of life. In fact, one of the things I read, this is really funny. Racism let me not say that. Although he had this thing, this mechanism, it wasn't doing well commercially. And what he did is he hired white actors to create advertisements in order to sell it, right? I think that helps a bit. But what really helps was in that tunnel disaster, where he was challenged to go in the mines, not he alone, but to use the device to go in the mines. And they successfully used the device and were able to save initially about 7 people. I'm not sure how many more were in there. And after that, it became accepted. And funny enough, when they reported on it, on the success of they didn't mention him. That is they didn't mention him. But at least, he got the device now was becoming more accepted, and that was part of his history. one of the things he did first, he married. He was married before, and I guess he got divorced, and he married again. It is said that this wife was white, and she was of German descent or something like that. I don't know what the circumstances were, but they set up they had a clothing business, and they set up a clothing business. Now he found that one of the things that happened is that the needles when you have a high-speed machine, apparently they get hot because they go so fast, and they get hot, and then when it gets hot now, it shreds the cloth. So he tried to figure out how can he cool down the needle so that it won't destroy the cloth. So he mixed up some kind of solutions, and he found that he was able to use the solution on the needles, and it worked. But what he also found is that it straightened the material. It had a straightening effect on the cloth as well. So what did he do with that? Turned that into a hair straightening product. So his story is really interesting because he moved from one thing and one thing led to the other, and that's really how he moved. And then now, so he sets up a business with the hair straightening, and I'm not following the sequence of what I've prepared, but I'm just giving you an overview in terms of the different things that he got involved with. But in fact, when he got into the hair refining, he set up his hair refining company to sell the product. Other hair care items were introduced, and the company became profitable, allowing Morgan to spend more time inventing. And that is really what was his thing. He wanted to invent, and he just continued to do amazing things. So the safety hood and so on came after that, and then okay, I told the story about the safety hood, and okay, and then finally, it was the traffic signal, which I've already, given you an idea of what it was and how it came about. In fact, the accident that he had witnessed was between an automobile and a horse-drawn carriage. Remember, they were both sharing the roads in those early days, and the horse-drawn carriage was carrying a young child. So at the time, they said such accidents were common, in part because traffic signals had only two options. Well, I went through that with you already. Okay. In terms of social activism, some of these inventors, they sold their inventions to other companies. He in particular sold one of his inventions to General Electric. Another person, I think, sold their, names like, what's his name that starts with W? It was an electric company. They used to have TVs and things. Westinghouse, I think, yeah. Those are some of the others. Not this particular person, Garrett, not Garrett. But the last thing I'll mention is, throughout his career, Morgan helped to support Black Americans. He was a longtime member of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. In 1920, he started the weekly newspaper, the Cleveland Call, later called the Cleveland Call and Post, to discuss issues of interest to Black Americans. In addition, he donated money to historically Black colleges and universities. In 1923, Morgan bought land in Wakeman, Ohio, upon which he built a country club for African Americans. So that's Garrett Morgan. Very interesting fellow. And the last two I'm going to just wrap up with.
Wait, DP2, we are pressed for time, so we're going to probably have to save those two for a part 2 of this presentation. But right now, we are already over the time, so I'm going to ask if we could put a pause on it there, and then we continue. We usually have persons stay on after, so we could continue the discussions after. But I'm going to ask that we just get back to the agenda at this point and try to close the meeting, because we're already over.
Okay.
Right, so I'm going to invite President Maurice now to call on his representative to do the vote of thanks.
Yes, hi, Joanne and Angela. Could you please do a vote of thanks to DP Stewart? Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the presidents and members of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston and the Kiwanis Club of West St. Andrew, it is indeed my honor and privilege to extend heartfelt thanks to our guest speaker, DP Stewart Spencer. DP Spencer, this evening you did far more than deliver a presentation. You ignited our minds and stirred our hearts. The topic, Black Innovators Who Changed Everyday Life, reminded us that history is not just about the past, but about the living legacy that shapes our present, inspires our future. You took us on a powerful journey, highlighting individuals whose creativity, courage, resilience transformed ordinary moments into extraordinary progress. From innovators that make our communication faster, our transportation more efficient, our technology more advanced, our healthcare better, our footwear more comfortable, and our elevator safer. You showed us that the impact of these pioneers surrounds us every single day, often in ways we take for granted. What made your presentation especially meaningful was not only the information you shared, but the passion and the pride with which you shared it. You reminded us that innovation is born not only in labs, but also in adversity. You showed us that determination, vision, and faith can turn obstacles into opportunities. We've learned a great deal from your presentation. We especially appreciate that you highlighted both male and female pioneers. And I'm sure many of us are inspired to do further research on these individuals because you have truly whetted our appetite for more. DP Spencer, thank you for your time, your wisdom, your research, your dedication. Thank you for reminding us that greatness is not limited by circumstance and that innovation continues when we invest in people. We pray that your journey will continue to be blessed, that your voice will reach many more audiences, that your effort will keep lighting the path for generations to come. Please join me, ladies and gentlemen. Use up your various emojis in expressing our deepest appreciation and a warm Kiwani thank you to DP Stewart Spencer.
Thank you very much.
Kiwanis Club of Kingston and the Kiwanis Club of West St. Andrew, we really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind words.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kuan and Angela. That was well said. And DP Stewart, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask for a motion of extension of time of about 15 minutes so that we can conclude our meeting and then.
I so move, President, for the extension.
Someone to second?
Second, President.
Thank you. And I'm sure President Maurice probably would wish to do the same at this time.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Also, we move to have PP Reldo to the Sergeant at Arms.
No problem.
PP Reldo. She gone? P. Cheryl, you want to step in and help out Rhoda? I think she has probably left the building. PP Relda, she's online.
Do a blanket fine, Maurice.
Okay. All right, we'll just do a blanket of say $200.
I'll join in and do the same. So a blanket fine for the members of Kingston of $200.
Yes.
We move to notices and announcements and interclubbing opportunities. DLG Willie.
Thank you, President. Before I go there, let me just extend a very special welcome to Key Club Jamaica District Governor Sarah Norman, who had joined us during the meeting, as well as President Chrysancia from Michael CKI, and 2 members of our St. Hugh's Key Club. Welcome to them all. For notices and announcements, let me speak to mainly Key Club activities. Key Club Jamaica District Blood Drive. This will take place at National Chest Hospital on Saturday between 9 and 3 p.m. An invitation is extended to all Kiwanians who can donate blood if they can. Join them on Saturday morning at the blood bank, and that is adjacent to our secretariat. In the afternoon, from 3 to 6, Key Club Division 1 will be having a divisional color picnic at Hope Gardens, and Lieutenant Governor for D1 is extending a special invitation to our Kiwanians if they may and join them on Saturday afternoon. The Visual Council meeting, please make a note that the date has been confirmed. It's going to be Sunday, March 28th. I'm not aware of the venue. That will be communicated as soon as that information has been received. Let's go back to Key Club Jamaica District Convention. That will be held in Monique Teachers College from April 9 to 13. Early bird is $18,000 and regular registration is $20,000. And lastly, let me just mention a proposed National Dance Theatre Company benefit performance at the Little Theatre on Saturday, July the 18th. And we are hoping that both Kiwanis Clubs at West St. Andrew and New Kingston will join us in making this event successful.
DLG Willie can count on us as partnering with you on that one.
Thank you, President.
Just remind you, you're going to also send me the contract.
That's correct. I think that is all for now, President Zuri. You may ask and visiting clubs, if there are any that have any announcements, may do so now. And you in particular may invite the President of Michael Circumcade to just may mention something on their project tomorrow and on Saturday.
For sure, DLG, I'll be short with it. We have our fish fry coming up on the 22nd. The 22nd for sure. We also we'll have our Read Across Jamaica coming up. Our golden ages of Red Hills, we'll be servicing them as well. I'd just like for P. Cheryl to just intervene and drop in some of our information that you would already have readily as we discussed. P. Cheryl.
Thank you. Thank you, President Maurice.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so for the month of March, we have several events planned, and most importantly, we have our fish fry, which we're asking all to give us some support. On the 18th, we will be having the read across schools, and the schools that we represent are the Laura, the Laura Basic School, Red Hills Basic School, and Corville. So that will be on the 18th with the Colombian Embassy, and another, perhaps the, one moment, please.
President Zuri, DLG, I'd just like to take also the time to welcome our Dr. Chandalu from the Global Health, and our prospects, Gabby Perkins and Jerome Birch. Thank you.
Okay, back with you. Sorry about that. So we will be joined by the Spanish Embassy as we read to the children in Spanish as usual. Secondly, on March 19th, we should be having the presentation for the scholarship to the student at the Blind Society, and on the 20th we should on the 20th we will continue our groundbreaking testing and evaluation for the children between ages 4 and 6, as we are joined by the Early Childhood Commission. Our first intervention being at the fair, the health fair that we
The
had
Laura's Basic Health Fair, correct.
in December. So those are 3 main items in support of the Young Children Priority 1, in addition to our fish fry, which will be on the 27th. The 27th.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, P. Cheryl. Let us allow President Zuri. You may now go ahead with your for the completion.
Okay, thank you, President Maurice. I was just going to invite any person on the platform, any other club. If you have any announcements, you could go ahead and do so now. All right, President Chrysanthia.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm just formally inviting everyone to the Michael Circle K Single Service Project tomorrow, February 18 and February 21st at 9 p.m. going to 5 p.m. at the Micro Practicing Primary and Junior High Special Education Unit. We'll be doing some painting, decorating for the students, and fixing up the garden at the school. So all are invited. My number is
go ahead.
My number is 876-461-6828 if you want to reach out to me in regards to how the location and so forth. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, President Helmer.
Thank you, President Zuri. Good night, everyone. I would like to invite everyone to a joint meeting on Thursday, February 19th at 6:30. We're having a joint meeting with St. Thomas, a trivia meeting. We'll be talking about and giving tributes to our reggae artists, both alive and deceased. So come prepared to answer questions. It's going to be a very interesting meeting. On Thursday, the link will be shared after this meeting. And it's an online session. Thank you.
All right, thank you, President. Anyone else? Going once, going twice, going 3 times, gone. So the thought for this week: forget what you did in the past and concentrate on what you will do in the future. On behalf of President Maurice and myself, I wish to thank you all for joining us, and now I invite you to raise your glasses, real or imagined, in a toast to Kiwanis International and Jamaica, land we love. This
We toast
meeting of
to
the Kiwanis Clubs of Kingston and
West St. Andrew
is now terminated.
terminated. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hey, Zuri.
Hey,
What's up?
I'm good. I'm not seeing who is talking.
It's Najee.
What's up, friend?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
No problem. You're welcome.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, I did. It was very informative. Very.
Thanks.
All right, then have a good evening.
You too. We'll
Good
talk.
evening, everyone.
Good evening, President. President
Good-
Najee.
Nice, everyone. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Nice to see you.
You too.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Hi, President Zuri. I must say that every time I have joined these meetings with President Stewart, DP Stewart presenting, it's always so interesting. You
Oh,
have to
okay.
spend a whole lot of time getting all of this information. Stewart,
Why
when it's not music, well, I lift my hat to you.
Oh, or is picking your brain about what's happening in the world.
Yeah, because these are some of the things that we don't really.
Documentary MDLG Bev.
Yes, a lot of things he talked about we take for granted. All the stoplight thing
Yeah,
with the red and they had what? Red and just green.
yeah.
But he
Just stop and go. That's
stop
what it
and go. But maybe we should still have that because nobody not obeying the amber. we just see two, red and green. So, but a great presentation. I'd love to get a copy of, like we can take it around to the schools and talk to the children
Well,
about these because they don't know these things.
it's on video. We'll have it's on video, but I just don't know why my video wouldn't come on tonight.
Oh, mm-hmm.
And it always works. I don't know why.
I share the same sentiment with DLG Bev.
Mm-hmm. It's something that we could really think about for our key clubbers that they and builders too. That they know all of these, especially the black innovators.
But you know what, Bev? With this talk in the US about DEI, as if to say, blacks, if it wasn't for black people, I mean, they are thinking that black people are getting a break by it being included. They should be glad we are included when we are, It's so ridiculous.
DLG Bev, and since we're celebrating Black History Month in February, that's a good idea. DP Stewart need to let us get copies of those things.
Yeah, man, we could go on and, like each club, and we go to the schools and let these kids know. It's a lot we can do. When I think of the children and what we can take to them, because the teachers can't do everything, and some of our projects really should be like just what you presented and an hour of showing them a video of all these innovations.
And DLG Bev and DP Stewart, these younger teachers don't know nothing about those things.
No, nothing, and they're very impatient.
Yes,
No,
I'm
it's
here.
so. You see, they have next week Friday is National Jamaica Day. And believe you me, I'm telling you, although I retired from the government system, I'm at like a prep school, and every year I have to be doing this thing over and over because they don't know anything about culture and new things that happened long time ago in Jamaica. So these younger teachers don't know anything about it.
I
So
was on a meeting. I don't know if you were on the meeting when somebody spoke about Anansi stories. The culture. We're really not teaching the children our culture anymore.
That's true, and that is so true, DLJ, and I keep on telling them that we, the older ones, don't keep on reminding them our culture is going to die because of this younger generation and know nothing about it. Would you believe that my teachers in my school don't know how to spin or rope to skip?
And skipping was our part. That's how we kept healthy.
Exactly.
We skip.
Right? They don't know if we dance hula hoop. They don't know if we spin a rope, we skip. And so
That's why my club, you know what we have done? We have taken old time ring games back again to the basic schools, and we spend an hour with them going through the ring games.
Okay.
Yes,
you jump out, I jump in, and I'm singing that.
yeah, man, all those things. What we do is let them show us what they know.
Yes, because even last year when we were at Jamaica Day, instead of I putting up the artifacts as I always do and tell them about it, why we used to use them and when they used to be used, and so I get them to use the drinks box and them make the truck and them use coconut bowl to make butter and ball and the rubber band. Because they don't know anything about it. Just tell them about the laptop and the tablet and the phone. These children don't know how to make these little things to play. So I took them back over the years. The girls, I even played jacks to the girls, and them no one play nothing else again besides jacks because they never know about it. So, a lot of things are there that is out there, and if we don't keep it
What
going,
I think
dying.
I see them still playing is hopscotch. But
Okay.
they play the hopscotch on the concrete.
Right,
And that's dangerous.
But I give you a joke now, DLG, babe. In the early childhood there's a thing they call it outdoor plays, where they have to do the hopscotch, but you use the hopscotch to reinforce lessons. Lesson that you taught, you use it to reinforce it. But back in our days, it was a game that we used to play, right? But now it's being used to reinforce a lesson. So for instance, if they jump in one box and the thing that they take it up and there maybe a question is there, and you have to read the question and try to answer the question, whether it be science, social studies, or what. But it's outdoor plays. But our days must be a game.
Stewie, look like Beth and take over your meeting. Don't want to get in, but I think you can tell them
this is a training time, Gertie.
research.
Roy,
They must
stay
go
back
do
and
what
chat.
they're telling people now. You must send them your ready-made thing. Tell them to go and look for them own things. You hear? And go get the children to do the same thing. The same thing.
I'm not agreeing with you.
Now, them going on computer and play game rather than do research. So you need to get them involved in doing these things and not just everything presented to them. You see, you don't understand. I remember the days when I have to be off my fingers on NCR machine to post things. Now all they do is something on computer. They click few buttons and the answer is generated. Anyway, not to worry, I'm not troubling.
True. It's like these teachers don't make charts anymore, and I'm going to store and buy the ready-made charts. We used to have to make them.
Let me mention, there's something I want to mention. One of the things that I was...
Sonny, I soon leave you, but I just want to tell you that so much information and a really, really interesting and informative presentation. A lot of us learned a lot. I mean, I remember most of the names or the things you tell me, but I remember the things that were done.
No, man,
I really appreciate it. Let me make
let me just add something. I had I wanted to include a couple of Jamaicans, right, who would have done stuff in Jamaica. And one of the names I had on my list, which I didn't get to, is Professor Louis Grant.
Louis Grant, yeah.
Now he's responsible for remember the fish clinic. It's now renamed in his
yes,
name,
yes.
right? And he did a lot of work. In fact,
and you're a club member. Remember North St. Andrew?
did something up there, built a part of it. Was that
Oh,
where
at Fish. The Fish,
David
you mean?
was from this club? I think it's just David.
It's fish can Papine.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's in Papine.
Mm-hmm.
But that is that, and you know, to make things more affordable, I remember the people used to go there for glasses, and there's also a dental section
Girlfriend,
and
you
so
remember I
on.
was telling you about Fish Clinic? That's where I go for my eyes now.
Okay.
I don't
And
bother
then,
with doctor.
Willie, I don't know if you remember some before COVID, right? We invited Clarence, this doctor guy, Clarence Williams. He was the one who has been doing research in guinea hen weed, and
Yes,
he
yes,
also obtained a patent
yes,
that
correct.
it can in terms of its treatment for cancer, right?
Yes,
What, what
uh-huh.
about
So,
Dr. Henry Lowe?
well, I remembered him as well, but because he has already written a book and he's more mainstream in terms of people already knowing a bit about him, that's the
Oh.
only reason why I would not have put him in. Because I tried to also include persons who a lot of people it's not the names that people know, you know. For example, the people who were in the movie Hidden Figures, I didn't bother to use any of them because the movie has come out and we kind of know about them, you know, so I didn't bother to put in any of those. But those are also, you know, notable persons who have done a lot. There's so many, you know. I mean, I just had to decide, well, to stop at that number because I said 12 was the max. If I'd originally said 10 and then I said maybe 12. But that was I just had to cut off.
It was
There
a
are lots
lot
of other people.
and you needed, if you had some diagrams with it or some charts, some pictures, it would have
Well,
been great.
yeah, I could have shown pictures of like the that face the mask, the green.
Yes.
I had pictures of it, but I didn't plan to show it. I didn't create a slide for that so that I could show it like that. You know,
Okay.
and even the traffic lights. So I had a few images, but I didn't actually plan to do it that way. But that would have been helpful as well. Why? And then, you know, doing it in the midst of all that you're up against, you know? Why? It get to me bad.
You did a great job. You don't worry about that.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, thanks for sticking around. I might play a little music now since I think
I
we
believe
have.
in this totally. Have a great and a blessed night, everybody.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
Gertrude.
girlfriend. Yeah, man, I want to hear some music
Good
now.
night, Gertrude.
Okay.
Baby's a night owl, you know, 2 o'clock
Yeah,
in the
man.
morning.
Yeah,
Still
but
not
tonight I'm going
watching.
to my bed early. I don't feel so wonderful.
That's when
Well,
Okay.
we'll
I'm
have
going
to
to.
when the
see.
husband is out.
Eh?
That's when
Is
your
the
husband
Pope
out.
Catholic?
I go tell
Willie?
him.
Willie is the
Yes,
Pope Catholic? Yes.
yes.
Tomorrow is Wish Wednesday.
Oh, let me just stop this first, and then I'll play something because I don't want to run afoul of YouTube. 1 second.